let me start with Boris Johnson. He did have a death-defying spell in hospital where the doctors and nurses said it was touch and go. You might have thought that a man recovering from such ailments and with a newborn baby in tow might have been permitted a bit of peace in his own country on holiday, but not a bit of it. He was 3 days on holiday in Applecross, in Western Ross, in the Highlands of Scotland. And that is a clue, because the Member of Parliament for the Highlands and Islands, one Ian Blackford, is being accused by all and sundry of having leaked the exact location of Boris Johnson and his family and their security detail to somebody. He says he did not do so publicly, but he emphasized the word publicly. One thing's for sure, the kind of people that hang around the Scotland-England border like ghouls in white NBC suits, shouting at motorists to get the F out of Scotland, who carry around banners to Scottish airports and Scottish railway stations saying England out of Scotland. If they'd said Ireland out of Scotland or Pakistan out of Scotland, they'd all be under arrest. But you're allowed to say that in Scotland under the SNP government. Indeed, dog whistle politics more or less commands it. Now, here's the rub. Ian Blackford is no ordinary Scottish nationalist. He's not even an ordinary SNP MP. He's a Privy Councillor. He's the leader of the SNP in Parliament. Now, if he divulged the Prime Minister's holiday whereabouts to others, then the Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, a man I know well, a man of great rectitude, is honour bound, I would say, to hold a Standards and Privileges inquiry into the conduct of a Privy Councillor. The Privy Council itself has a responsibility to protect the life of the Prime Minister of Britain on holiday in his own country and who was potentially placed in danger by a security leak. Not the first one, by the way. When Johnson was in Scotland just a few weeks ago, on the internet, Scottish nationalists, extremists were posting details of his helicopter flight plan. Information that could potentially have been of use to a terrorist. And I don't know why the security services have not felt the collar of the man who leaked those helicopter flight plans. I don't know why the law does not feel the collar of whomsoever leaked the whereabouts of Boris Johnson on holiday. Now, he said he didn't say anything publicly, but of course he did on Twitter. Somebody, Torquil Crichton of the Daily Record, posted that the midges were ferocious. These are, I think, specifically Scottish insects that are so virulent that anyone camping in Scotland is taking their life in their hands. Torquil Crichton said, for fair-haired, fair-skinned people, these midges can be awful. And Ian Blackford, Privy Councillor Ian Blackford, then tweeted, I wonder if an Eton-educated individual learned how to deal with midges. Thus, he did publicly identify the area in which the Prime Minister was staying in Wester Ross. But the exact location may well have been leaked by someone else. But we need an inquiry to establish that. It is also possible, as our poll makes clear, that it was the midges themselves that drove Boris Johnson homeward to think again. Or it could have been a domestic. He has, of course, some form in that regard. But the most likely source was the Scottish nationalists. So you can vote now. Was Boris Johnson driven out of his holiday cottage by A, midges, B, a domestic, See Scottish Nationalist. You can vote now on my Twitter feed at George Galloway. Let me move on, but staying in Scotland, we'll be talking to Brian Wilson, CBE, former Labour minister, about a hate crimes bill, which the aforementioned SNP, you might think it ironic, has tabled in the Scottish legislative programme. It's opposed by the Faculty of Advocates, Scotland's lawyers, the Scottish Police Force, the Catholic Church, and Uncle Tom Cobley and all say this is a very bad idea, which could lead to people being sent to prison for having offended someone they have never seen or met, had no intention of offending, and were merely expressing, even in private, their own personal opinion. That road is a very dangerous road to travel. Freedom of speech, if it means anything, is the freedom to speak of those you like least. Otherwise, it's meaningless as a rubric, it's meaningless as a plank of the platform on which we as a country claim to stand. Now, in parenthesis, let me just say, I've just read that the British Army has been training the army of Belarus. I saw some demonstrators on the streets. Who knew we had so many Belarusians in London? But I just saw some protesting. I wonder if they are aware that the last dictator in Europe, his army is being trained by the British Army. Well, why not? We train the Saudi Arabian army, and that is much, much, much worse. No doubt Belarusia will come up in the course of the programme this evening. We'll be talking to Chris Hedges about all things American, and we'll be talking to Lee Stranahan, who used to work for Breitbart. Steve Bannon was his boss, and Steve Bannon is now in jail on charges of having profited mightily from a crowdfunding drive to build Donald Trump's wall, which came as a surprise to me because I believed Donald Trump that the Mexicans were going to pay for Donald Trump's wall. Evidently not. $25 million was raised in this crowdfunding drive. And it is alleged, only alleged, of course, that Steve Bannon trousered $1 million of those $25 million for his own personal expenses. Now, I've only met Steve Bannon once, very powerful individual indeed. And of course, many people think he's the reason why Donald Trump is in the White House in the first place. And the charging of Bannon just before the presidential election may or may not be coincidental. We'll hear from Lee Stranahan, who's no fan of Steve Bannon, about that later. And of course, we'll be talking about the coronavirus. Another big outbreak in Scotland at a meatpacking plant. It's going to be hard to pin that one on the English, but the Scottish figures are catastrophic. And the Sunday Post, of all papers, broke a story today that might see the end of the Scottish Health Minister, Jeane Freeman, because it gives the lie to the SNP's protestations that shifting pensioners out of hospital into care homes, where thousands of them have died, was actually at the direction of the Minister for Health. We'll touch on that, I think, with Brian Wilson also very shortly in the programme. But in England, it's no better at all. The more you look at it, England and Scotland have performed catastrophically in the coronavirus epidemic. By comparison with all other countries, except the United States and Brazil at a push, although Brazil's density of population, size of population, gives it something of a buy in this regard, Scotland and England have performed catastrophically. We have the worst coronavirus figures in Europe, and we have the worst recession in Europe. In fact, we've got one of the worst recessions anywhere in the world. So things look bleak for Britain as we approach the bell on Hogmanay on New Year's Eve, after which Britain finally, totally withdraws from the European Union. Not the year that Boris Johnson imagined when he said this is going to be a great year for Britain.